RERA wasn't yet established.
Okay.
So there weren't broker cards, there
Yeah.
wasn't licensing. It was very much the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
So when I first arrived, I was managing a Canadian franchise
Okay.
at that time for about a year. And then, so technology was always something that I did.
What type of technology were you?
So in the very beginning at the dot-com boom,
Uh-huh.
I was working with Microsoft and Sun Microsystems on their directory-based technology. So it's like the foundation to what all technology was built on at that point.
Okay.
Then when I got into real estate in Las Vegas, you didn't have company websites. Facebook wasn't yet.
Yeah, I know.
It didn't exist.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
Instagram or anything else wasn't existing back then.
Yeah.
So I did as much as I could with technology for like lead generation, and I did very, very well. I was in the top 2% of
So
sales.
would it be like email marketing?
It was a lot of email
website,
marketing.
yeah.
I created my own website. I was doing microsites for like certain communities in Las Vegas.
Landing page kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, and then at that time, construction, you had a lot of new construction off plan there.
Yeah.
So I was building websites for the developers.
Got it. Okay.
And we were getting leads and generating leads from there. So I always stayed, that technology had always stayed on. So then when I came here, was running the brokerage, very much the Wild Wild West, I said, and I didn't broker deals, I was just managing the day-to-day. And I said, you know what? It's very challenging to sell property when you don't have data.
Yeah.
Because everything is opinion-based.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone has their own opinion, obviously, and it's not backed by data.
100%.
So that's when I started working on bringing the real estate data to the market.
Amazing, because you'd seen it in the US, right?
Yeah,
and
with
it was
MLS,
like, how
yeah.
could you do it without data?
Exactly.
Got it. But it must have taken a while, because I remember when I first came, even not that long back, just feeling like everybody's selling on momentum and just ideas, but there was no real, advice, because it's not backed up. It's just ideas and momentum.
Yeah. So that took a while. So 2008, 2000.
And I think it's still probably adapting as well.
It is, but it's really we've grown so much on data and using data in real estate. From real estate agents, obviously the advisory companies, the consultancies, they've always kind of used it. But really it wasn't until 2016 when I built Property Monitor.
Yeah.
So we built that platform using government data and using other data sources.
Got it.
And it was very much geared towards real estate agents. Because when we were building the platform coming from the US using MLS, Zillow, Trulia, I was like, okay, this doesn't exist here. We need to build something for agents, make it very easy.
Yeah.
They can do a CMA, comparable market analysis report within like 1 minute. This is what we need to cater to.
Yeah.
And then working with the government, I moved then to Property Finder. And then worked on the Open Data Initiative with Dubai Land Department, and then eventually creating Washer, which is the official house price index for the city of Dubai.
Wow.
So it took, we're talking about from like 2008 to 2018 is when that data transformation happened.
I jumped in. So you were talking about when you were working at the Canadian company, but you didn't like the idea of not having the data. So how did you get from that to?
So when I was running the brokerage, like I said, it was very much Wild Wild West. There wasn't licensing, there wasn't rules or regulations, and I came from a very structured market, so I didn't like it. Yeah. And I saw that huge gap and pain point in the market of not having data, which is very important, especially when you want to bring in foreign direct investment. Yeah. So that's when I decided to pivot into the technology real estate space. Okay. So it was probably about 2008. At that time in 2008, I built a real estate portal called Easy Estate.
Easy Estate, okay.
This is way back in the day before you came.
Well before,
but oddly enough, or funny enough, or ironically, if you look at the Easy Estate video, which is still on LinkedIn, you'll see features there that don't yet exist in the market that would be amazing for the market. Wow. Like B2C tools, like consumer tools and broker tools. A lot of it does exist currently today on Property Finder and Bayou, but it took them, I built this in 2008 and they probably released these maybe a few years ago. So that was the very first entrance into the market on the technology real estate space.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. It must have been super hard to
very
get the
hard.
data from...
Yeah, so when it came to the data, I knew the source of truth was the government. obviously, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
They hold all the data, they hold all the information from the transactions, everything. So that was the first and really the only place that I went to at that time, because I knew that I had to convince the government to release open data into the market that's non-confidential.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was building Property Monitor, and it was a real estate advisory company.
Okay.
And we convinced them to do reports on the data that they were giving us. And we said, okay, let me show you how we can do reports for the market that can be beneficial for investors, consumers, and B2B.
Yeah.
And they agreed.
Okay.
And then they saw the value, and then they started opening up the data more and more on their website. And then when I worked on the Open Data Initiative while I was at Property Finder, that was for Dubai Land Department to offer their API to entities that would be building products from this data. So it was Property Finder by Youth and DXB Interact.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.